on, and we'll have clips of the other three other lawyers. I'd like now to invite Bud back to the podium to say a few words about a part of his experience in advocating for Insite. Bud. All right.
Thank you. I do much better when I have written out a poem than when I'm speaking spontaneously about an issue like this. But when I was involved, or first became involved, as I talked about in the first poem I read, the health minister. The health minister of BC said there would be no injection site over her dead body. The mayor of the time, he said, no way, absolutely not. And in 1997, I happened to be appointed to the health board, something the health board almost immediately rued. And it'll never happen again. It hasn't happened since a more or less junky poet from the gutter and the downtown east side ends up in the health board. And they did put a lot of pressure and made a lot of changes because I brought up, well, what happened after the Thousand Crosses event? That raised the awareness in the lower mainland, at least, to the horrific situation for drug users in the downtown east side. And after that event, it somehow occurred to me that it needed to be broadened. This cry of suffering, that I was seeing and hearing and experiencing every day, needed to be brought to an even louder and larger understanding. So I went to the library and I found out what the definition of a public health emergency is. And there had never before in the history of Vancouver been a public health emergency. So I made a motion, which I was bringing to a health board meeting to get a public health emergency passed. And fortunately, I had, along with others, by that time, Vandu was beginning to form, and so others were involved in helping with the educator come to the health board meetings and help with the education about users, the downtown east side, what it is to be an addict, what a health emergency is. And so I knew I had their support, but that week, I've been working with Libby Davies, and she said, well, watch out this week, they're going to take you aside and they're going to work you over and try to get you off of this motion, the executives. And that's exactly what they did. And I thought, oh, they said, we want to talk to you in this side office over here. There were two. And I said, oh, this is what Libby was talking about. And when I got to the door of the health board meeting where I was bringing the motion, there were three executives flanking the doorway and blocking it. And they had their own motion, which said, crisis. Well, standing in the rain waiting for a bus was a crisis. But what was happening in downtown east side, if it wasn't at least an emergency, it was far, far more than a crisis at the time. So we managed to, what happened then, it actually did work. We began to get inquiries from the BBC, from the New York Times, all the local media again, I was in Ottawa for a poetry reading, and Alan Rock, who was the health minister then, he had heard about this situation, and he cleaned his calendar to meet with Libby Davies and I. And he thoroughly understood the situation. I was sorry actually to see him leave at that point, because he was, I talked with him and his top assistant for several hours as to a strategy to come back here to try to change some of the minds of the politicians. And I met with them, and it began to work. They were liberals. This was coming from liberals in Ottawa, and it seemed to mean something to them. So I kept reminding through the next year that there was an actual public health emergency going on at the health board meetings, and the health board. Oh, when I first went to the health board, I was told that by one of the workers that the health board is about politics, not health. And that's what I kept running into continually, was politics. You'd be a better advocate if you weren't on the board, if you were back downtown, not sitting here and all various. I ended up with my disability being dropped and all kinds of things that politics, the crudeness and cruelty that politics can bring. But by abiding with that and the development of the movement that is represented, certainly here tonight, I believe that public health emergency and the awareness that came from that, the development of Vandu, and the efforts of so many others at the Portland Hotel Society and elsewhere, is what has brought us to the forefront of safety and health, and trying, what we've done, and this is my last scattered comment, is that we've accomplished a revolution, a rebellion, a successful one. We know about what's going on in the Middle East, and to some sense what they're trying to do is what we have accomplished with the supervised injection site. It went from that place of not over my dead body, no, but we can't deal with a public health emergency from the health board, to here we are. And how many lives have been saved? How many families have been reunited? How much hope and how much just faith that we can do more and need to do more has come out of all of the efforts of the people who have participated in this rebellion against the death of prohibition in this country. Thank you.